You're listening to the Unsung Podcast, where we talk about albums that we think are unsung classics, and then you guys tell us if we're right or wrong. This is the Unsung Podcast. Hi, you're listening to the Unsung Podcast. I am your host, Mark Fraser, and I am joined by the two biggest subscribers to that nudie website Chris mentioned.
Mr. Skin.
Mr. Skin, that's the one.
That is the voice of a man that's got to be up at 6 a.m. Check that out, folks. Nothing but maximum effort. Every week, week in, week out, regardless of other commitments.
I was trying to think of what to say, and I just,
So what Mark's getting at is that a moment ago, I whispered into the microphone, "My God, it's full of stars," and then challenged these guys to name the two most famous places that quote is contained therein. David, I'm guessing thanks to Google, managed to find out that it's from the movie 2001 A Space Odyssey, near the end.
You don't need to remember anything anymore, you just need to be good at Google.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Interesting. I was reading an essay this week about a famous philosopher who reckons that technology is making us more stupid. Anyway, that doesn't seem that interesting as a subject.
I've started spelling things incorrectly. I always used to be top of my class in spelling. I've always prided myself with fantastic grammar.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Hello, my name is David. I'm good at the words.
That was some irony there for you.
Massively overloaded the mic.
Now, sometimes when I'm not typing on my phone and I'm just typing,
you're struggling even
I know, I can't really. I've had a long fucking week or year, but I've started spelling things really oddly. I did tortured with a CH earlier. I typed it out and then I was like, what the fuck?
That's just more about your music taste though.
That I wrote tortured.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think my brain has become reliant on autocorrect. I don't know. I just find it really weird. I've started doing it more and more.
I think we're going to start spelling things in that kind of meme, sort of puppy meme fashion pretty soon as well.
Yeah, not even phonetically, but just like a
doggo. That kind of thing. Anyway, sorry. So, My God, It's Full of Stars. 2001 A Space Odyssey, as Dave found out via Google and his stupid illiterate self. Self-proclaimed stupid illiterate self. And,
I'm happy with that.
And for the guilty adolescents among us, during the era of dial-up internet, there was a website called Rob's Celebs, which was basically screenshots of all your top actors and actresses in the nip. In the movies, and may have logged onto that once or twice as part of my research into naked actresses. Sorry there, may come up with a better excuse there. But and that was, every time you opened it funnily enough went, "My God, it's full of stars." And so when you say that and you get that knowing look from someone, you know that they too touched themselves or were a massive Stanley Kubrick fan. Interesting addendum to that. David, how do you spell addendum? CH. Interesting addendum to that. Apparently Rob died. Rob of Rob's Celebs presumably masturbated himself to death, had a massive heart attack or something, or some kind of coronary failure, because I picture him as being this giant fat man on a tiny swivel chair in a basement. But yeah, Rob died because one day, logged on, it was gone, and there was a commemorative Rob post. It's sorry folks, there'll be no more screenshots of Kate Beckinsale because Rob's dead.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to masturbate to that news?
I think Mr. Skin had him offed.
Yeah, it might have been.
Because I'm pretty sure he was whipping the pictures off Mr. Skin and then putting them up for free.
Yeah, which is... Yeah, you're undercutting your rival significantly there.
Just yawning on. This is a top quality show already. I've got about 3 things to say about the album today as well, so we might as well pad this part of the programme out. David, he's wearing these kind of I like that colour of pink, that jumper. You wear a lot of pink and purple.
I know. Because we've got a smaller washing machine in my house, so I've actually started doing like my washes by colour.
How
Like
small?
nobody actually does it. It's got a really shallow cylinder drum. Yeah,
I kind of imagine
it looks like a normal sized washing machine, and then you open it and close it, and you're like, oh, that's the back wall already.
What do you think all the rest of the space inside it's used for?
Well, I think it might be mice. Going by the rest of the kitchen, it's just a fucking
They have an entire metropolis.
Yeah.
It's like a borrower.
My God, it's full of mice.
But yeah, I hung up my washing the other day, and it was like, oh, I own a lot of pink.
Maybe Dave used to just have one red jumper and loads of white clothes, and now he just.
I mean, that would have been a cheaper way of doing it, but I seem to have bought them all.
I think if I was a listener to the show, which obviously I'm not, but if I was a listener, in fact, I don't think any of us are. But if I was a listener to the show, and I had to picture David, it would be in one giant combination of flesh colours.
I've got pink socks, I've got pink pants, I've got.
I couldn't see those. Just for the he is wearing.
I'm not wearing them today, but I've got pink socks, pink pants. I've got several pink t-shirts. I've got pink shirts. I've got pink hoodie and 2 pink jumpers. I don't think I have any pink shorts or jeans or trousers though.
You must have pink shorts.
So I don't have anything pink to go. I've got. Nah, I don't.
Well, you should have told us that for Christmas.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Damn it.
but that screams to me as a man at ease with his sexuality.
It is probably. It genuinely is.
Or a man in denial.
Why not both? At ease with his denial.
Touche.
I just pink's a great color, but I actually think this is off red, like a pastel red.
Well, I really like that. Yeah, it's kind of that kind of vivid salmony pink that is pleasing on the eye.
Thanks.
And you have a haircut as well, which is also pleasing on the eye.
Oh, getting all the compliments here. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you weren't here last week.
I should be off more often. Come back to nice, generous things.
Mark, on the other hand,
I like your trainers.
Thanks, man.
They're new.
They're my driving shoes.
They're pretty cool.
I usually wear boots, but I can't drive in them, so I wear trainers when I'm driving. It means I can feel the pedals through my, soles.
So you're getting pink shorts and you're getting slippers.
Driving slippers.
If we make it another 51 weeks, or no, 49 weeks now. What am I getting, guys?
It's been
nothing.
3 weeks.
That's what I'm getting.
You're getting
nothing.
A new jotter.
Nothing again.
You'll get
a new jotter.
A plaid shirt.
Yeah, I do need one of those because there's at least one day in the week that I don't have a backup.
And you're wearing that's right now. That's what you're wearing right now.
I'm wearing a green shirt right now.
Yeah, it's not plaid
though.
You want to replace this?
It's backup day.
Yeah, I could just give you this and a Sharpie, and you could draw like a grid on it. You can colour in every second box.
Yeah. Could do that in the pub.
That would keep you busy on the way down to Birmingham tomorrow.
On the plane, what's that guy doing? Why is he colouring in that shirt?
Shh, I forgot to get my Christmas present. This is the least I could do. So you join us on the night of a big vote in the UK Parliament, following a big vote in the UK Parliament. Obviously this is going to go out after the vote. It's happening in the background as we speak.
They're currently voting on a vote of no confidence in Theresa May right now.
Our government, not Theresa May. She's survived hers.
Oh, well, yeah. The entire...
last night, she got her boss handed to her in a record-breaking...
Her lady boss.
Yeah, like the biggest defeat in modern history, which was actually pretty hilarious to watch because it was way beyond even the most ridiculous estimates. And that's,
I got a message from my pal who I studied politics with, and I don't really see her that often, but we just occasionally message each other about Facebook, and I just got a message from her last night going, what the actual fuck? And I was like, yeah, I know. That's constantly being the exclamation for the last 2.5 years. What the actual fuck?
I have a similar relationship with my dad, but did manage to send him the phrase oofed last night.
Well, my mum very rarely texts because she can't really text or use anything digital. But on the morning after the Brexit vote, I just got a text from my mum just saying, we're really fucked now.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, that's why I'm kind of mentioning it, because for those people that listen to this from far afield, which I think is getting respectable, we're doing a right
few of you out there. Hello.
Estonia, we're doing a right. Malaysia,
Macedonia the other week.
Macedonia, yeah, thanks for that. Finland.
Yep.
So yeah, for you folks, it's just to kind of reporting from the front lines of absurdity that has been British. I noticed, is it D'Angelo's sitting on 64.36?
Yeah.
Has it gone? Oh, it was at 100% for a while there.
Yeah, it was,
nah. Me and some other people made sure it didn't
You're
get
a
that.
disgrace.
But that is, for the purposes of our foreign listeners, pretty close to the amount with which Scotland rejected the fucking debacle that is Brexit. So, as 3 Scottish persons reporting from here, we are, as per, being ragdolled around against our will. So it's even more bizarre for us to watch because the vast majority of people I know are hugely against it.
But we did vote to be better together with the rest of the UK.
We did.
And as
can't argue with that. That
so
was
far.
We saw this coming. This is the whole point. Yeah, that was the best argument. Why would you vote to be separate? Is so that if you do vote in something that actually matters, and as usual it doesn't. But anyway, we could literally go on about that for fucking hours.
But we're not gonna.
No. If there's one thing we're good at in Scotland, other than eating chips, is keeping them on our shoulder. So do we have an album this week?
Nah, we're just talking about Brexit.
Right. Good stuff. That was why we didn't announce this last week.
We are talking about an album that shares 3 letters with Brexit, though.
Bronx.
Bronx.
Totally unrehearsed. I'm here all week.
Yeah, so this week we are talking about Bronx, the Bronx by the Bronx.
Mm-hmm. As opposed to the Bronx by the Bronx, or the Bronx by the Bronx,
or the Bronx by the Bronx,
or the Bronx by the Bronx,
or the Bronx by the Bronx.
No, their new album's called V.
Is it?
As in 5.
Bronx. That's what it says on the cover. Bronx.
The Bronx.
So everyone by the Bronx is called the Bronx, and we're talking about the Bronx. You can work it. We're not even going to name any of the songs. You can just guess what one of the 4 albums we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about the one that was released in 2003, which is their first record. They've been a band since 2002, so this was a pretty fucking quick turnaround for our records.
Yeah, plus their origin story is the stuff that
kind of weird
Hollywood motivational movies are made of. It's like, oh hey, we played our first gig and we got a top manager, and oh hey, we've played a dozen gigs, we've got a deal with Universal, or fucking pricks.
Are you jealous?
Hugely. Hugely. Of course. Like 99.9% of musicians are jealous. I'm not just jealous of that. Like the Bronx, after getting signed to Island Def Jam after their 12th fucking show, were then allowed to go and release their first album
on their own
label and just come back when they felt they were ready.
Yeah.
What do they have on the executives at Island Def Jam to be able to leverage such a glorious set of terms?
I reckon what happened is they were probably negotiating the deal, and one of the guys went, "Do you know what? I really need a mariachi band for my daughter's wedding." They're like, "By the way, we can do that for you."
That. Is the money good? Yeah, we'll do whatever. That's fine.
And if you let us do that, then we'll find your record label.
So yeah, the Bronx also masquerade quite literally as Mariachi El Bronx, which is a mariachi band loosely based on the format of punk rock, very loosely.
Yeah, they're also pretty good live.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, both bands are really good live. Mariachi El Bronx are way more fun because of the nature of the music. The Bronx are pretty devastating live.
Bronx is a pretty fun band. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
but
they don't take themselves
Mariachi El
too
Bronx
seriously.
is a lot different kind of fun, I suppose.
I mean, there are very many different types of fun you can have.
Yeah.
Is that just a broader statement about life?
Yeah, but the best type of fun you can have is wearing a very wide-brimmed hat.
I'm playing a massive guitar.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Having not tried it, I don't want to knock
The
it.
wider the brim, the more vigour and vim.
Oh, hey, that was quite good.
Hello, dear friends. We apologise for interrupting your regularly scheduled programming, but we come bearing awful news. We need chairs.
We do need chairs. I forgot about that.
Every single week, I think we're coming on here and saying we need this, we need that, and it's true. I mean, our studio is not complete because, frankly, we don't have a studio. We have Chrissy's living room, and we've been getting all kind of weird stuff like squeaky chairs and weird electrical noises. Last week, this week,
We're probably going to hear it next week as well, and every other week until you just give us some goddamn money. So please do that. Anything helps. A couple of quid, 5 or 10 or 50 quid, 100 quid if you feel really flush. But yeah, just help your boys out. Help your boys out, yeah.
I like that shout out.
Mark.
Yes.
Why did you choose this? And first of all, Mark was really worried that you folks would desert us en masse because we'd put 2 Mark albums back to back.
I still might be proven right on that one.
I don't think anybody notices who brings forward the album.
So this is Mark's second in a row.
Yes, and I picked this record because it's one of the best albums I've ever written, basically.
Okay.
Interesting.
Care expand on that?
No,
or do you want to just
that's it, we're done.
That's it.
wrap
Okay,
it there?
cool.
We're done.
So vote now on the Facebook page.
No, I think you can totally see why a major record label would be interested in this band straight away, right? They've got like kind of 70s punk energy. They kind of borrow a lot of guitar tones and sounds from the 60s. I've got a lot of that 80s hardcore attitude as well. They're kind of and they've got a lot of pop punk in them as well, I think, from the 90s. So,
I mean, I'm just going to say I agree with all those comments, but I don't see how that makes it sense that a major label would be interested.
think about it, right?
We've got to think about it's 2003.
Yeah, 2002.
Yeah, but they don't like Bronx. To their credit, I'm not knocking them, but Bronx don't sound particularly like anything that's big at that moment.
Yeah, totally.
They don't sound like pop punk. They don't sound like emo. They don't sound like At the Drive-In massively, although there is a track in this album that does. So in terms of a major label, suddenly, I mean, they're a very competent band, but in terms of a major label picking them up in terms of contemporary trends, I don't think they actually do make that.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what was happening in sort of alternative music back then, and I mean, you had fucking Good Charlotte and Blink-182
Finch
were punk rock
then as well.
Finch were about them, but they didn't really get that big. Yeah, maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah,
they tried to break out, and then they never really made
There were
it.
a few of those kind of emo bands,
Yeah.
like did Funeral for a Friend and stuff
Under
like
Oath.
that.
Alexis on Fire.
Yeah. So
But this is way more hardcore and straight down the line.
Yeah,
And
I'm not disputing what you said. I just dispute the suggestion that it then makes it obvious that they were picked up by a major. I actually think it's pretty interesting they were picked up by a major, and the way they were treated by the major is one of those rare occasions where you're like, shit, man, maybe there was like an A&R person there that really just did care, saw a good band and was like, this is a good band, we should sign them. And that's coming for me, you know, King Cynic.
Yeah.
But it seems like they were picked up
I've read interviews
because they were good.
with Matt. You know,
How do you say his name, by the way? Let's each take a swing at it. I'm going to go for Cochrane.
I thought it was just Cochrane.
Dave, you want to spell it?
No.
Because if you do spell it, it's going to sound like you've misspelled Cochrane.
Yeah, Matt Cauthran.
Caughthran. There's way too many consonants in there. He doesn't need half of those.
Yeah, it looks Welsh.
Yeah, let's call him Matt.
Let's call him Matt. Let's just call him Matt.
I mean, I think one of the interesting things about this band is like they were spotted by the same person who was the manager of American Hi-Fi, who were a huge pop punk band at the time. They had that song Flavour of the Week, right, which was a huge thing at the time.
Yeah, they were pretty shit though.
Yeah, they were a fucking shit band. No denying it.
Nowhere near as good as All
one.
American Rejects.
Yeah.
Much better band.
But we've talked about this before, man. Like, it was an era when money was getting thrown at rock bands right, left and centre. They obviously played a fucking killer show in front of somebody who mattered.
I wonder what show it was that the manager from American Hi-Fi was at it, because I was trying to find that out. I was like, it was their first gig. It's like, it's a hell of a gig to get for your first gig, is supporting at a show when people like that are there. Not bad.
I suppose that's what kind of happens in LA though. You choose the right show, the right people will be there. Well, maybe
It's a
15
break.
years ago.
I mean, they're a band that early on got a lot of breaks, and I'm not.
Yeah,
I like them,
and
so I'm not pissing on them.
he said their third ever gig was at the Troubadour.
Yeah.
And like there were 8 labels there.
Yeah, he said it was full of all these old guys, and he was like, who
and he
are
didn't
all
know
these
what
old
the
guys?
fuck he was doing. He was like, I've broken my wrist. I'm like covered in sweat and blood. What the fuck am I doing? But you know, let's just go for it.
This is the era when At the Drive-In were really setting audiences alight, obviously they were just about to break up at this point, but the live performance was legendary and a lot of bands were copying that. I mean, I don't know if you remember this, and I'm sorry to bring this up, but in the early days, this is around roughly around about the same time Lost Prophets get signed, and before they released their first EP.
What are they famous for? There's something...
They're famous for...
The singer was also in Steps.
Yeah, that guy. He's that guy.
Right.
And then the guys left the band and started another band with Jeff Rickley from Thursday. They're also famous for that.
Sometimes you say names too fast.
It's not. Everybody knows. It's fine.
Okay, so we've shoehorned Lost Prophets into this conversation.
Because I remember very clearly at the time, because this was early 2000s, one of my friends, one of the guys I went to college with, he was a huge Lost Prophets fan, and every single like review or article you read about them, like in magazines or whatever, always compared their live performance to At the Drive-In.
Really?
And yeah, always our initial live show was compared to having the same kind of chaos, and a lot of bands were doing that at the time.
That's so weird.
Yeah, which they totally. I mean, I seen them live at Ozfest 2002, and they were nothing like that band. They got bottled off stage.
Who did?
Lost Prophets.
All right, okay.
But I also seen the Bronx in 2003 when this record just came out. I seen them supporting Avenged Sevenfold in the QMU with Lost Prophets and Think Rise Against, and they were by far and away the best band of the night. They were on first, and they just fucking destroyed it. I'd never seen anything like it in my life at that point. They were incredible. I think that's probably quite an appealing thing in the early 2000s when everyone's into like, you know, heavy rock music and they're looking for the next big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was already a backlash forming against some of that absolute pish that was everywhere. I kind of wonder, like, there's something about the Bronx that sort of always reminded me a little bit of Amen.
Mm.
Like the kind of immediacy and the sort of straight ahead.
Yeah, they had a bit more of a bluesy sound to them, traditional bluesy sound, but they were like a more punk, less metal Amen.
Yeah, I sort of wonder if maybe a little bit of like Amen's sort of... Well, imagine saying that, I don't think Amen were particularly commercially successful, but
they were. That's the thing. Like their first records, I think their first demo actually got them. Their first demo got them attention of Roadrunner Records, and they recorded their first album for Roadrunner with Ross Robinson, and then they got dropped from Roadrunner and picked up by Virgin. Their second album became For Your Parents. It's got that huge song on The Price of Reality, which was like a massive radio
and video hit.
Yeah. But if I remember from researching a past episode, though, I don't think Amen sold very well at all.
They did not. No.
Yeah, they got dropped after that second record, and then they fell out with Roadrunner and told everybody never to buy anything from Roadrunner, including their own first album. And then Virgin have never released that second record again. It's not like you can't get Amen's second record on Spotify. So like that's a band that sort of the opposite happened. They worked hard as fuck, came out and got kind of tagged 2 years earlier as a new metal band.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
got the opportunity and then got totally fucked over by two record labels. Whereas then the Bronx come along a couple of years later and get the same sort of opportunity, but then totally make the most of it and use that momentum. And it's interesting, you know, considering that they are maybe kind of similar, and one of them was maybe just came out a couple of years too early and didn't get the same breaks.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably accurate, but again, I can totally see why it would be a bit baffling as to why a band like this gets signed to a major label, but it happened. There was a lot of money kicking around at the scene at the time. They got on some great tours, played with some awesome bands very early on too.
Yeah, I mean, there's no getting away from it that the Bronx definitely had
luck on their side.
The rub of the green, when it came to that kind of stuff. I think an interesting question then would be, given that they have 5 albums now, I think just one just out recently, why the first one? Because I noticed that the second one especially won quite a lot of accolades.
Yeah, the second one was our major label debut. And it's got a lot of good songs on it.
It's voted album of the year, and what was it, Metal Hammer? One of the rock press voted it album of the year, and Spin had it high as well.
It's a great record. It's got a lot of good songs on it. White Guilt is the last song's really, really good.
You
think Shitty Future and History Stranglers were both singles on that record, and I think they got quite a lot of play.
I kind of felt the second album was overproduced, to be honest.
It is a bit.
I think there's something quite, just overcooked about it. It tries to be a bit too compressed and a bit too high impact, and it just seems like it tries a bit too hard.
It was produced by Michael Benihorn, right? Who'd done a lot of stuff which was nothing like the Bronx, Chili's, Violent Femmes, Soul Asylum, Marilyn Manson, The Cult, Korn, Fuel, that kind of thing.
I wonder how much of that was down to the label giving them the big, in the ear speech of like, we should team you up with so and so and so and so.
Possibly, but Gilby Clarke was also involved in the recording. He did the first EP and the first record.
Yeah, he recorded it in his kitchen though, with like a low level of expectation.
And he was probably just out his fucking bin on coke the whole time anyway. So I
mean, the band apparently are fans as well.
I think they partied hard, certainly, to begin with.
Yeah. Converge went on tour with them and Mastodon. And I believe there was a fair amount the powder kicking about. Just listening to Mastodon drummer. But he certainly wasn't alone. So say first-hand accounts. Anyway, that to one side. The second album, I actually don't find any of the tracks particularly stand out. For me, the best album, aside from that, it's the third one. Is it Knife Man?
Knife Man.
There's a couple of belters on that third album.
Rock, what's it called? Past Lives as well.
Youngblood was a single on that. Youngblood's also Spanish Handsake's pretty good, and so's the last song, Digital Leash. But none of those two records had the consistency of the first one.
No.
Things get a bit weird after that. I mean, I really like the fourth record, but it's
a bit singy.
It's a totally different. I think his voice is probably fucked by this point.
I think, is it the voice, or is it that they're trying to... Because the Bronx are a band of... I don't want to say diminishing returns, because they've not diminished so badly, but they've never recaptured the immediacy of the first album.
Definitely not. And they're not on a major label anymore, so they've got nothing really to prove.
And I can't tell if maybe that's their attempt to sort of diversify and see if they can rekindle some sort of growth somewhere else by being more melodic. I don't think it necessarily complements the band, though. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just at times it kind of drifts towards... I don't know.
It's a bit more pop punky.
Yeah, it's a bit more MOR,
But I like a lot of songs in that.
Did you listen to the new one?
Yeah, I listened to it yesterday and on the weekend again.
Just another piece of trash on the street, looking for love instead of going to sleep. My head was spinning like a kid on the vine, talking in circles about losing my mind.
It feels like it's trying to meet the fourth record and the first record kind of halfway almost.
That's actually probably a pretty fair assessment. It starts well, like it's got the first track and it's a belter, and it's like when when I heard that as the opening gambit, I was like, this could be interesting. But then it just again it starts to peter away towards just stuff that's a lot more I don't know, unremarkable. Where do you see the Bronx as having sprouted from? Because I mean, let me throw like some names that really come across. I think it's also some of the reasons that I like them, because they don't sound too much like any one band, but there are elements of what they do that invite comparisons. A clear one for me would be Hot Snakes. The directness, the chunkiness, the kind of the maximal production of the guitars. Obviously, like you said, in terms of references from the past, the Stooges are a common reference point.
Dance to the beat of the living dead. Lose
of that. I think especially when they tried to do stuff that was a bit more anthemic. There's actually one track, I think it's in the 4th album, which sounds like they're just wholesale ripping a fucked up riff.
He is cold, he is warm, he's the beast inside the storm. Feel the swelling of the wave, hear the ringing of a bell. He's been weak, he's been...
It's fucked up. Were they not around at the same time? Not coming around at the same time?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe very slightly after, or like the first album. In terms of like some slightly more not obscure but nuanced references, they remind me of an era in the history of hot water music. Around about Caution, that
That's
album.
my favourite era of hot water.
Yeah,
music,
it's
that,
like it's where they're a bit more gruff and a bit more full on, a bit more punky. There's less of that sort of almost like folk punk. There's less of that happening. It's,
Yeah.
it's a bit more energetic.
more hooky as well.
Yeah, more hooky. I also thought they loosely, I'm not saying they sound like it, but White Light, White Heat, White Trash by Social Distortion.
Absolutely. I think Social Distortion's a big touchstone for these
Yeah,
guys,
that-
especially on the guitar sounds.
Ignorance like a golden hand, reach out to the promised land. Their history books are full of lies. Media.
Absolutely, and I think there's elements of that. So just trying to like pinpoint where they were sort of coming from. I know that's
I think something that stands out, and especially with Matt's vocals, is maybe non-American influences and a more Scandinavian sort of line sometimes, and also that sort of maybe even Helicopters type vibe.
Swallow up, and they gon' flush it down. Mind made special, get with the latest sound. So here's a treat.
Yeah.
Then also a heavy Refused influence, like Refused sort of minus the politics. Really, I get a lot of that in his vocal lines.
I think like you're saying about Helicopters and some of the other Scandinavian music that kind of orbits that, not so much death and roll but punk and roll.
Yeah,
You-
like
you-
Turbo Negro and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. You're
yeah.
taking punk music, but you're kind of adding that kind of rock and roll vibe to it. I mean, they're obviously from LA, and you can hear a lot of like elements of the LA scene in their music. Some of the stuff in later albums, especially, does kind of touch on some of the kind of dirtier Guns N' Roses stuff. There's moments of, I mean, I know you guys would probably think I'm a maniac, but I would say like AC/DC.
Nah, I don't think so.
I can hear that, yeah.
One
Heavy
that,
blues rock.
one that maybe will seem ridiculous at first until you actually listen to it, because people have different impressions of the band, but the Eliminator album by ZZ Top.
See the girl with the red dress on. She can do it all night long. She's a bad girl. She's a bad girl. I know a girl that likes to flirt.
I fucking love that record.
Right, so yeah, I mean, you're familiar with that album, which means that you'll appreciate that it's, when people think of ZZ Top, there's the hokey, early, corny, sort of slightly countryish, naff kind of ZZ Top. Then there's the later cheesy dad rock ZZ Top. But there is this period that's actually
Yeah, they kind of nailed it.
pretty driving, and it's a bit slicker. It's a bit more cool, and I wouldn't say cool ZZ Top you're talking about, but you know what I mean. It has that energy of that.
Do you know
period.
the ZZ Top fact?
The one?
Yeah.
Tell me.
So obviously ZZ Top were famous for the beards.
The beards.
There's 3 members in ZZ Top. The drummer, who doesn't have a beard, is called Frank Beard. That's the ZZ Top
Beautiful.
fact.
The
There you go.
ZZ Top fact.
So continue. Sorry.
They're also big Trump guys, aren't they?
Oh, I mean, probably, I don't know. I don't follow the politics of ZZ Top anymore, but you know.
I can get on board with what you're saying about the Scandinavian thing as well. Right, well, did you guys come up with any nexi?
Yeah.
It wasn't hard, was it?
Nah. We've already spoken about Gilbert Clark, so should we jump in?
Can I just interrupt you there?
No.
You have unfairly besmirched ZZ Top as pro-Trumpers.
Are they not?
They are not. In fact, they fired their opening act on tour for being pro-Trump. So they're
Well, there you
distinctly
go.
anti-Trump.
You know what? I'm happy to be wrong about that.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
There you
I'm
go.
happy you are wrong.
Yeah.
Let's
Sweet.
get back from ZZ Top Island once again. Sorry.
Okay. Well, we'll go to the Nexus
The
then.
Nexus then, yeah.
It's the Unsung Podcast. Dave Grohl Nexus. Need to find a way to connect the show to that guy. From playing in Nirvana to hanging with Obama, he knows lots of folk, so stands to reason we'll find a link. It's the Unsung Podcast. Dave Grohl Nexus. Don't take too long. All right, you guys ready? Are you ready? Here we go.
Great.
Is Fritz sick of hearing that yet? I wonder.
Fritz was sick of hearing that the second week we played it.
He was.
Fritz has probably stopped listening now because of it.
Probably.
He's probably like spends his whole time triggered waiting on it.
He hasn't donated any money for a while, so.
There's nothing else to prove. He's had his
Yeah.
episodes, but
He's-
we didn't set a goal beyond that, did we?
No.
And nobody else has taken us up on it. So
Yeah, but if the thing we'd have to do next is not something I want to do, we'd have to probably.
don't even say what it is, man.
Sorry.
Anyway,
On you go, Chris.
right. So
You're first.
the Bronx is so frustratingly easy to come up with Nexi that I have 4.
Okay.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, just choose your best one.
Very quickly, Nexi Jormovic, the original drummer in the Bronx, left the Bronx to go and play with Eagles of Death Metal. Dave Grohl was in a video for the Eagles of Death Metal.
Okay, yeah.
Joey Castillo, the drummer from Queens of Stone Age, is now the drummer in the Bronx.
Yep.
Dave Grohl was the previous drummer in Queens of Stone Age. The Bronx played Black Flag in the 2007 film What We Do Is Secret, which was a biopic about the frontman of The Germs. They played the song Police Stuff, by the way, by Black Flag. Darby Crash, the singer of The Germs, died. Also a member of The Germs was Pat Smear, who went on to play in Nirvana and Foo Fighters. But the actual Nexus number 4, my favourite Nexus, is that Mariachi El Bronx and Schoolie D did the theme tune for a cartoon on Adult Swim called Aqua Teen Hunger Force, which is actually a really pretty good,
Yeah,
cartoon.
pretty good cartoon.
And Josh Homme, this isn't the link, but Josh Homme did the first season theme tune of that. And that show has featured a number of guests doing voices, including Ted Nugent, Andrew WK, Glenn Danzig, Josh Homme, obviously, Chuck D, all of which we could have got to Dave Grohl. But I'll go with Patti Smith, who was on the final season. Patti Smith sang on the song Ebo the Letter from New Adventures in Hi-Fi, the R.E.M. album.
Aluminum tastes like fear. Turn around.
Grossly underrated R.E.M. album, and
The only one I own.
it's a good record.
Yeah.
Peter Buck of R.E.M. Once had Nirvana sleeping in his front room and on his couch after they played a show in 1991 in Atlanta, as Dave Grohl fondly recalled in an interview once to Who Gives a Shit.
Great. Yeah,
David.
good.
David
Good
Grohl.
selection. Well, David Hidalgo Jr. played drums for the Bronx
Hidalgo.
from 2016 to 2018.
Also was in Chuck Reagan's touring band. Still is in Chuck Reagan's touring band.
Yeah, drummer in Social Distortion, blah, blah, blah. His dad, David Hidalgo, non-junior, is, of course, the drummer in Los Lobos. Very
really?
famous American Tex-Mex psyche
Quentin
band.
Tarantino. Is that where we're going?
Well, are you thinking that they are the band from Dusk Till Dawn?
Are they not?
They're not.
Oh.
That's Tito and Tarantula. But I also thought that.
Yeah.
I was going to go down that direction, but I was incorrect. So
I wonder where we got that from.
I know, I don't know why
Both
I
of
thought
us.
that.
It's
But
like
Los Lobos,
a Berenstain Bears moment there.
but Los Lobos were on the soundtrack to Desperado, and they've done a lot of work with Rodriguez. Oh shit! What was my thing? Oh yeah, they appeared.
Mark, you're gonna have to cut this.
They appeared in the Sopranos. Their track "Viking" was used in the Sopranos in 1999.
Which I've never seen, by the way.
You've never seen the Sopranos?
No.
Holy shit! You are in for such a treat. Man.
The thing is, that's the point. It's like, when do I do it?
Yeah, when do you treat yourself to that?
Really good.
Wait until I break a leg or something.
Yeah.
Wait until you have a lot of pasta to use, because every time you watch The Sopranos you go, I really want some fucking pasta and a big glass of red wine. And also you also feel like you become a bad man because you want to start swearing and being violent and being misogynistic.
So far tonight I've sworn profusely and had pasta.
Oh, now you just have to be misogynistic and violent.
Well,
so you already is. So I mean,
anyway, the
Rob Celebs was kind of misogynistic.
The Sopranos obviously featured loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of guest stars, one of which was the pop star Lady Gaga. Way before her pop career kicked off, she was a bit part. I think she was a friend of the daughter. I can't remember. It's been ages since I watched The Sopranos, but
the daughter in Sopranos, Alicia Witt, was
Alicia Witt was a pal.
The pal. Single hottest woman in history.
Yeah, she was a very attractive woman, but there's the misogyny right there.
But by the way, Lady Gaga currently backpedaling like a motherfucker after
her R. Kelly
video
collab. Oh my goodness. And what I'll do is I'll just show you this video. It is Dave Grohl and Lady Gaga at a party, chug beer and have a Jägermeister. That's a video on YouTube.
Oh God!
Wow!
So that's my. That
was the jackpot when you typed in Dave Grohl, Lady Gaga, wasn't it?
Just top one. Thanks very much. So there you are.
That's very good.
Thanks.
So mine is via Gilby Clarke. The album was recorded in Gilby Clarke's kitchen.
Who was
in Guns N' Roses?
The guitarist in Guns N' Roses.
Who replaced Izzy Stradlin, and I think he's on some songs in Appetite for Destruction.
I remember watching an interview with Izzy Stradlin, and he woke up and he couldn't move because he was like in so much pain, and he thought, this is literally the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. Oh, I can't move, I'm in so much pain. And it turned out his pancreas had burst. Just burst. His pancreas had burst. The 80s, man, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Imagine bursting your pancreas.
Arguably, I think the best version of Guns N' Roses as a live band was with Gilby Clarke in them, but it's a different conversation for a different day because I know you don't like them, Chris.
Yeah, I think in a few decades we'll have the best version of Guns N' Roses when they're dead.
So Gilby Clarke was part of a reality TV show and band called Rockstar Supernova.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, it's getting good. Which was a TV show in which he, Tommy Lee, and Jason Newsted held a singing contest, a reality TV singing contest to find a singer for their new project, Rockstar Supernova.
See, I don't mind Jason Newsted, but the rest of those guys can fucking fall off a bridge.
And the record was was co-written by Butch Walker and another guy who I'll talk about next week. In my Nexus next week.
All right. Wow. Hey, no spoilers.
Tommy Lee was in Motley Crue, obviously. He also did a side project in the early 2000s called Methods of Mayhem.
Oh, I remember them.
Oh, well,
I
Dave, you
truly remember Methods of Mayhem.
You must have played that
They
at a club
were
somewhere.
Awful.
Rocking my ponytail for hours and hours. Look at the Ron Jeremy. This is the last street with my ass weak, and I've been running with the blue balls since last week. Come on, you ask me.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like you must have played them.
I kind of forgot about them. I might check them out to see if there's a banger in there. I played Crazy Town the other night.
I'll bet you did.
Oh God!
I went down a fucking.
Are they not getting done for sexual harassment as well? As well?
Oh,
No, he's beating his wife. Yeah, he's a wife beater. Yeah,
yes.
It's good. Dave.
Shifty Shell Shock.
Shifty Shell.
Are you trying to tell me a man called Shifty Shell Shock cannot be trusted?
Who wears a wife beater?
Bass on the Methods of Mayhem's second record called Public Service Announcement was handled by Chris Cheney, who is the current bass player in Jane's Addiction. And
Jane's Addiction.
He's doing he's doing a big long one here.
I know, but can I just reiterate? Jane's Addiction are shit.
Yes.
So shit.
Oh, I didn't mind that one song that came out like when they reformed.
Just because.
Aye, that was alright. Maybe it just reminds me of being young though.
We've named Soul Asylum and Jane's Addiction two of the worst things that happened in that era.
Yeah.
Oh no. This that album, aside from Chris Cheney, it also features Skrillex on keyboards. Deadmau5 also gives some sampling duties. Chad Kroeger on backing vocals.
How does he do backing vocals?
And of course, Chad Kroeger was in Nirvana.
Yes, Derek Whibley from Sum 41 and Chino Marino.
What was that? That must have been before Avril,
Yeah.
or they mustn't have been in the same room.
Yeah.
Oh, are they custard cousins, aren't they?
Is that a thing? Custard
You
cousins.
mean Escobar Brothers?
Custard cousins is of course a thing. It's this where you're related to somebody who has had relations with someone that
Escobar Brothers.
you've also had relations
Custard
with.
cousins. that
Custard
is-
cousins, Mark.
Escobar Brothers.
I've got some interest in custard cousins. I'm just putting that out there.
So Chris Cheney was also in Alanis Morissette's band at the exact same time as Taylor Hawkins.
Shit.
Oh,
But
great
can we
work.
just backpedal a second as well and say Chino Moreno was on an album featuring some really
Horrendous people.
shit people.
Yep.
So what record was that? Sorry,
It's called Public Disservice Announcement.
that's their second record.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
2002.
by the way,
so it came out the exact same year that the Bronx got signed to a major label.
if ever you wanted like a single example of why Deftones should have tried not to be affiliated with the new metal scene, there it is.
Yeah.
Look at some of that company.
Mhm.
That's bogging.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yes, that is the nexus. Also, Chris Cheney appears on Taylor Hawkins' solo record. Oh yeah, and Taylor Hawkins is in Foo Fighters, and so is Dave Grohl.
Play us out.
That's it.
Are you ready? Here we go!
That was quite a journey, wasn't it?
You know, that is also expanding to consume the episode. We've made that point. Right, so first Bronx album, getting it a wee bit thorough going over.
Yeah.
One of the best starts to
Any record ever.
well, maybe not go that far, but certainly one of the best starts to a punk rock album that I've heard.
Yeah.
It's smashing intro.
Yeah.
Public Disservice. Sorry,
Announcement.
it came out in 2010.
2010.
2010.
Mark, your research is way off.
I thought 2002.
No, 2010. They split up after the first record, and then in 2002,
Oh, okay.
and then, or no, in 2000, and then got back together again 10 years later for this record.
Because there was a
Oh,
demand for it. So wait a minute. So Chino Moreno agreed to that in 2010.
So
2010.
that means Derek Whibley was definitely in the same room as Chad Kroeger. Well, Chad
Well,
Kroeger
maybe they
was
just
They
didn't
weren't in
banging
the
appear-
same
Avril
room.
Lavigne.
They probably phoned that shit in. That was probably one of the preconditions.
My God. That's
By the
wow.
way,
It's a hit. It sounds like a
By
hideous
the way,
record. I'm pretty sure it is a hideous record.
Avril Lavigne's taste in men.
Wow, it's very Canadian.
Very Canadian. I know. She's keeping it local.
Sorry. Anyway, so the Bronx. What about that opening track? That's a beast.
Yeah, it is a fucking
Heart Attack American.
Heart Attack American. It is. I would probably say it's one of my favourite songs ever. Favourite punk songs ever, for sure. It's just got so much energy.
It's urgent.
Very urgent. The riff is legendary at the start as well.
I mean, it sounds like a band just in full fucking flow. They're just like trying to get to the end of the song as fast as possible, but doing it correctly.
There you go.
Doing it in the
That's a
correct
backhanded
way.
compliment if I've ever
Yeah.
heard one. And no, I mean, it's like super simple, really catchy, and does that really Bronxy thing of dropping down one note a lot. So, ah,
Come on, baby, let's go walk out the door. I'm done showing up the fucking work. Taking on to the fucking bed. I'm in the chair now, going out flip the switch.
they do that a lot in this album, and it works really well.
Yeah.
But it's really, really simple.
It's like I've spoken about it before. It's about taking that one thing that is simple that you know how to do and doing it really fucking well.
Yeah. No, agreed. It's a beast. I think as well, it's really savvy. I mean, this album's 29 minutes long, 10 tracks for a punk record. It's perfect.
Yeah,
It's just such a nice length, like
Absolutely.
digestible, enough that you can go back and get into it, but it doesn't ever overstay. But I think they made a really good choice with False Alarm, the second tune, by going for something that's very different from the first one. Because the Bronx do have a lot of tracks that are samey-ish.
yeah.
You know, that
For sure.
they have a thing that they do, and they do it well, but it makes sense to space those out. And there are a few in this album that are interchangeable, but they space them out reasonably well. False Alarm with that kind of bass intro, that really, really interesting structure as well. Decent amount of variation in it, and it is, I don't know, it's just a much more innovative approach. and they're very like early on. They're avoiding that pigeonholing thing.
Yeah.
straight off the bat.
I think it's pretty clear that even though they like that kind of simplicity of like 60s rock and like 80s hardcore, they know how to like change the parts up in interesting ways, which is it's not an obvious thing to people, to a lot of songwriters, you know, taking that one thing and seeing how you can look at it from different angles, like the constraints kind of become their own.
Yeah, I think they distilled, I don't know, like an essence very purely on this record that a lot of bands then sort of tried to, you know, recreate and never quite got there. Or like, for instance, Every Time I Die, who were kind of contemporaries, the Bronx maybe pushed them to do different things or also influenced them. And then, I don't know, like Cancer Bats just basically are the Bronx but heavier.
Yeah, heavier. I think like that's the Cancer Bats they're a band that gets brought up fairly frequently when you discuss the Bronx, but I mean there is something a lot more convergy about them. Like
they're like the metal version. But they've taken a huge amount from the Bronx.
It's like they've listened more to Black Sabbath than the Bronx have. So where the Bronx may have listened to the Stooges, Cancer Bats have clearly listened to Black
like they've listened a bit more to like metal. I mean, like more
but
like
they've got a lot of Black Sabbath riff. I mean, they do occasionally perform as Bat Sabbath and play a Black Sabbath covers. So
first ever Bronx single, Bats.
Yeah,
before the first album,
Bats.
What a great disguise!
Sorry, it's got an exclamation there, right? But I mean, see, considering how few moving parts there are in the Bronx, and I don't just mean in the sense of the four members in this one, isn't it?
Yeah, four on this record.
5 afterwards. I don't just mean in terms of the members, but I mean in terms of the simplicity of the music. It's a lot of power chords. The beats are quite straightforward, not always obvious, but straightforward. So there's not a lot of variables to work with, but they seem to have made very good use of very simple building blocks in these songs, and that's to their credit. You know, it is that cliche about how difficult it is to do something so simple well and make it relevant. And yeah, I mean, this is definitely a good example of that. White Tar, track.
I think the build up to the chorus in the song's pretty awesome. And the bridge, not the bridge, but the bit with this when it kind of drops out and it just lingers on that scream and then goes back into the chorus is a really effective thing, which they do a couple of times in this record. But first time I hear that on the record, every single time it gives me chills.
With White Tar, I think it's decent. The lyrics really jar me. Like, I got cancer looking for the answer or something. It's really like the kind of thing you'd have written in your
like
diary.
This is this track. They sound like they're angry but without a cause. Kind of. They're just like.
I'm glad it came after False Alarm, because I think if this had been the second one, I would have been like, oh, it started well. It's kind of it's fine. It's the Bronx being the Bronx. Luckily they bring in was it Cobra Luce?
Yeah, Cobra Luce is really good.
Stare at my face until I neglect everything I couldn't forgive. Look at the way you make me live, shug it like a fucking kid. I reject that flame.
Yeah, it's just fucking rock and roll.
Riffs, man.
Yeah, and really, really catchy. That's
lots of good details in it as well, like the wee drum fill at 1:10 and then the bass break at 1:32 as well, with both those bits like break up the kind of structure of the song. Otherwise it would have just been like 2.5 minutes of the same thing repeating.
Yeah,
and I think that's what they do quite a lot in this record really well, is like they've got a really good attention to detail. Again, being somebody that loves punk rock music and has played in punk bands, like it's really easy to just go, oh, I've got a really good riff, got a really good hook, let's just do it, then that's it. But I think adding in small, just different little bits which show you've thought a little bit more about it can be quite hard to do, and it's not immediately obvious to a lot of musicians, and I include lots of bands I really like in that as well.
I'm a big fan of the 5th track, They Will Kill Us All, brackets Without Mercy.
That was the single, and it's got a really weird video.
We gotta do this then. Access we define, so you can't treat me. Oh, we rewrote the standards, coming up the scars.
But is, yeah, that's
I
probably.
haven't actually seen the video for it, but it's the chorus and that, the gang chant approach
good.
is
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Love a gang chant. It's like, you can imagine when you hear that song, the live show. I've not seen the Bronx live. You have, but that is one that, because of the gang chant nature of that chorus, it's like you can totally see it going over well. Track 6, I Got Chills. That's one of the most memorable on this for me.
What I'll do if you never do, leave me an answer. I got chills. I'll bring it down and build again. Sit still.
Yeah, such a sharp song in it, but it's really, really great.
Yeah, I mean, even just the fact, the naming of the track after the hook is a, stick on memorable feature.
It sounds like they're going to just implode at any moment in that song. It sounds like it's about to fall off the rails, but it doesn't.
I think this would probably have been, when they were sequencing this album as well, I think this would probably have been a candidate for the first track because of how well it comes in. I know, obviously, Heart Attack American was a great choice, but I do think this would have been a contender on, well, certainly on other bands' albums, this would have been a fine opening song. I really love the directness of the verse, but then the fact that the chorus is just a bit choppier. It's also got like a solo in it. It's got like a kind of very Stooges style solo, which I think is one of those points when you're trying to think about, why does this band leave me with this impression? This is one of the moments, whether you realise it or not, where they harken back to somebody like the Stooges. And I think that little touches like that, even if it's just once or twice in a full record, help differentiate the Bronx from a lot of other punk bands.
Again, it's that attention to detail. And then after that, it's Gun Without Bullets.
Gun Without Bullets. Interesting beat in that one.
Yeah. I think the vocals are really good in it as well.
They do that thing, like they drop one note thing that they do all the time, and I like it. I think it's a really good technique, but it's very Bronx. I think the only thing with this song is because that beat is so interesting at the start, it straightens out. But it would have been quite nice to hear that persevere.
Yeah, keep going on that wonky. But then they'd be Every Time I Die.
Maybe.
If they did that.
True.
True.
Notes of Eviction. I think this should have been a single. And it's a really, really good song.
It kind of foreshadows Strobe Life a little bit because it's a bit more downbeat, a bit slower.
It's subtly different side of the band. It's like a bit more stoppy-starty, and it's got that minor vibe to it. It's more angsty punk. It's got a bit more of the kind of, there's a phrase for it, kind of, complaint sort of rock. Yeah, I like it. You don't want an album that's like too posy, upbeat and happy-core. It's got a nice kind of negativity to it. That
it holds out the big riff until the end as well, which it kind of holds back that, and then it's like, by the way, we've got this too.
Another bit that would kill live, talking of killing, Kill My Friends, number 9.
It's kind of probably the most throwaway track on the record.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks, like I was saying about the first tune, it's the Bronx. It sounds like the Bronx, like it could have been on any album. Yeah. It doesn't sound out of place. I mean, the album isn't over long, and so maybe just one more injection of that direct, fast-paced stuff is actually well considered.
Yeah, and it's one that live is going to really work because it's just like got that energy. Yeah, there's a couple of tracks on this album that you're like, I would rather be in the pit for this than, you know, I don't need to listen to this right now. I just want to fucking get sweaty.
Jump around. Yeah. I think it's also, you're talking about subtle touches. It's got a nice wee kind of drum overlap later on in that song that lets the drummer kind of cut loose a little bit. It's a little bit more varied the way it syncopates with the line. That's pretty cool. And the last track 10, Strobe Life, is like a really standout song, and it's good that they put something this different and this memorable to bookend the album, because the album starts so well, it has to end well. This is a song where they sound the most in their career, like at the drive-in.
Yeah, definitely.
It's got a much more plaintive vibe about it. It seems more, again, a little bit more downbeat. Not in terms of energy, but in terms of mood. But it's got a little bit more substance to it.
Yeah.
And it seems like an ingredient that would otherwise have been missing. And you maybe don't know that it's missing until you hear it. But I think it's probably just by being there added a bit of longevity to the album overall.
It's funny, I read a review of this album from a website called Shaking Through that was done at the time, and it's just got a bunch of 2003 reviews here that I've found archived, and the guy gave this record a fairly shit review because he said the whole album is too straightforward. There may be enough talent deep down inside this ferocious foursome to eventually emulate the art punk sweep of At the Drive-In, or who knows, even the muddy prog punk of the Mars Volta. But this album does little to fan such hopes. I don't think they're trying to be the fucking Mars Volta. But the last track, I think you can see that they are sort of getting a bit more expensive, but this guy's got the total wrong end of the stick here.
It's kind of like it's kind of a depressing feature of some journalism anyway. It's that people are so enamoured and entrenched with what's in vogue at that time.
Yeah, they can't see...
like, oh, this band aren't doing a very good job of copying what's around right now. And you're like, mate, they're not trying to do a job of copying what's around. I mean, yes, this track has moments of At the Drive-In. I think the snare roll bit in the middle especially is totally different from anything else that's on here. And is something that would sit well on Relationship Command, but I don't think this is a band for a minute that fancied cashing in on that market.
No, it was a totally different thing. They're a punk band.
Yeah, I mean, fuck that guy.
The end of it as well with the
joke's
vocal.
on him, by the way.
Well, the interesting thing is that he gave a much better review a month before to Permission to Land by The Darkness. So, you know, a man of taste.
Is that why you're following him? Yeah. I mean, I don't think you get many arguments in terms of this being a really good album, and I don't think you would get many arguments in terms of this being their, well, not from this room, in terms of this being their best album. I suspect some people might disagree in terms of online. I mean, as I said, the only one that comes close to me is number 3, but then again, it seems like number 2 is a really popular record based on the sort of critical response.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be this one, though, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite records ever.
And the artwork's fucking great as well.
The artwork is great, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I read an interview with him where he was getting asked a bunch of like sort of vaguely interesting questions, and he just kept turning the conversation back to like, I drew this. Yeah, all right, man, all right.
Well, the interview with Matt, I think it's one of the Rank Your Records. I think it was with Noisy, and you know, he did the exact opposite of that sort of Biffy Clyro, choose your latest record and, you know, disown the first stuff. You know, he put this as his number 1, and he was like, this is when we were a band, this is when we had the energy, this defines what the Bronx is. I fucking loved it then and I love it now.
Thank goodness for that as
and
well.
It's like,
see, reading those lists and then people are like, oh, I think the latest album
it's really us most expensive and oh yeah, fuck off, man.
I mean, seriously, I mean, you must see yourself afterwards and just be like, what have I done with my life?
I think that's a good call on their part. What did they put second?
They did 2. Oh no, the second Mariachi El Bronx. It was 1, then Mariachi El Bronx 2, then it was 4, then Mariachi El Bronx 1.
So yeah, let's put this up for the vote, but we all think it should be in there.
Yeah, I think it's a great record.
I'd be disappointed if it didn't get in, because I don't think any other record of theirs is kind of worthy of being in the discography.
Would you be as disappointed as Theresa May after getting a 230 vote scalping?
Yes.
Do you know, while we've been
Yes.
while we've been recording this show, in the background, her government scraped through to survive by something like 19 votes.
So much confidence.
So the Great British Farce
Continues for
another week.
Another week. Well, thank you very much for listening to my pick, gentlemen. And I'm glad you both liked it.
Mm-hmm. Care to tell us what we're going
Anytime.
to do next week, David? Because I believe it's your choice.
Oh yeah, so next week we're going for Shells and
Can you
Sea
spell
of the
that?
Dying
Because this
Dow.
is
It is asterisk SHELS.
asterisk
One L.
SHELS.
Yeah.
For anybody that's curious.
So it comes from the name of an EP from a previous band.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah.
We'll get to that.
We'll talk about it.
So it's what was the record called again?
Sea of the Dying Dow.
David Dying Dow. Yeah, cool.
Great.
Excited
So-
for it. So yeah, go vote on our Facebook page. Thank you very much for listening. And
And if you hear any small farting noises throughout this recording, then we apologise, but it's none of our diets. We're getting some weird interference.
Yeah, let's put that disclaimer in there. That this is not
Yeah.
actual farting. There's some kind of weird interference happening, and I'm gonna have to try and edit it out. But if I'm unsuccessful, or if I just get fed up,
I think it's happening right now.
It's
You
happening
can
right
leave
now,
this
yeah.
in as
An example.
An example of what it sounds like.
should we go quiet for a moment?
Oh,
Nah,
let's
there
go.
you go. Fucks off. Anyway.
cheers. Bye.